Now what if I wanted that to open up in a new tab window? I go back over to Notepad. I do target. Target is the second attribute we can specify. There's several different options we can use for target, but the one that opens, the only one you need to know for now that opens up to a new window is blank. And you have to specify that underscore character. That's an underscore, and then the word blank. So I save this, go over, refresh. Now when I notice first that it's purple now after I reload it, because I've visited the site already, so that's why the hyperlink turned purple. And notice, instead of opening up in my HTML reference page, now it opened up in a separate tab. So that's a nice little feature to have if you don't want to have to keep on going back and losing where you were on the new page that opened up. Okay, so I'm going to close that out, go back over here, you finish the other two, and you'll be done. Okay, for our last topic for now, remember I told you there's three types of hyperlinks. You have hyperlinks to other websites, which we did in our example HTML reference. For the second type of hyperlink, you're going to have hyperlinks to different places on the same web page. Usually they're called bookmarks, and that's what we're seeing on the slide that I'm showing you right now. There's a special attribute that every single HTML element has. It's called the ID attribute. Alright, and this can be used specifically for setting up bookmarks. The important thing to remember is that ID names are unique. Alright, so you can only have one ID name in your entire HTML document. Alright, this will be very important when it comes time to use IDs with CSS, which we'll get into later. So IDs are really used for CSS, but they also can be used to set up bookmarks. And IDs, they're not case sensitive, so this is one of those rare times where you can mix case. So how do we do it? To create a link to a location in your document. Alright. Assuming that the link name is ID, right? Then you just put a pound sign in front of it, run the quotes, and this becomes the reference name. Alright, and this forms your hyperlink. So here's your opening tag A, whatever content you want to create to be a clickable hyperlink, and then the closing /A. Alright, so we're going to do this in our own document right now. If I go back, we'll get to the second section down a little later. So I'm going to jump over to Notepad++, and I'll show you what I just set up here. I'll highlight it with the mouse. So everything you're looking at right here, I just added this list. This is the very top of my HTML reference sheet. Alright, I didn't do anything special to it. What it is, so this is the H1 HTML reference sheet. We have the paragraphs explaining what this sheet is. You know, it's the very top of the page. Right below there, I just want to have a small list that, because this list is getting very long. The page is getting very long, so it's a good practice to be able to provide anybody going to any of your web pages, give them the ability to be able to jump directly to the spot on their page that they want to get access to. Think of it as a table of contents that is posted right up at the top of your web page. Alright, so I basically took the name of each one of our sections that we've been dividing them with horizontal rules, and made an unordered list of them. Alright, so if you have something different for the different sections you have for your HTML reference, use whatever names you want here. But if you've been just following what I've been doing in class, and you basically have 6 sections in your lists right now. We just added this one, the hyperlink. I'm going to page down. Alright, next we have essential tags for block level elements. Then we got into heading tags. List elements. Other miscellaneous block level element tags. And inline element tags. Alright, so that's what my 6 levels are. So I'm going to show you how to do the first one to set it up as a bookmark hyperlink. Alright, so there's 2 steps involved. First you got to go and create the name in the link itself so that the browser knows where to jump. Not in the link, but in the spot where you want the browser to jump to. Okay, so obviously this one we're going to create right here. So this makes it nice because they're both on the same page. I don't have to scroll back and forth. So I have to modify the h2 attribute with id equals. You can use generally whatever name you want. I'm going to use hyper. The key is that for id attributes, all the names that you use have to be unique and within the web page. All right, each web page has to have a unique set of ID tags that are being used. You can repeat ID tags among different web pages in a website, but that's not the same thing. Alright, so I called this one hyper. Alright, so if I want to reference it, I have to make the hyperlink into a hyperlink. So I embed it with an A. I go to the end of it. A /A. What does my href become now? This is my reference. So it's going to become #hyper. It is very common practice for new HTML programmers to forget that pound sign. Alright, if you forget that pound sign, it's not going to work. By putting that pound sign there, it turns this into hyper. So let's do the second one. Actually, let me jump down and do the last one so that you can actually see the browser window change. So inline element tags. ID equals inline. Okay. I'm going to go back up to the top, scrolling back to the top. Alright, now we're back in our list here. href equals pound inline. Put a /a. Alright, I'm going to save this and show you what happens. Alright, so we're at the top here. I'm going to refresh. Ah, this is nice. So we have the title, we have the first paragraph, and then we have our list of different sections you can jump to. If I click on the hyperlink, see that? It just jumps right to the hyperlink section. Now the next step we'll use is it would be nice to add a back section, back to top at the end of each section here. Okay, that's just good practice. Again, you always want to make it as easy as possible for your viewers to be able to navigate around. Let me just test out inline elements. Jumps to the inline element section, and again you want to put it back to top at the bottom so they don't have to go scrolling all the way back to the top like that. So that's the way bookmarks work. Alright, so that's our second example of a hyperlink.